Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us on this somber edition of the Ed Factor. We are here to, I suppose, discuss and celebrate on the awful news, the sad news that Maiden's former vocalist Paul
Yep.
Di'Anno
hmm
has passed away at the age of 66.
So yeah, it's been very quick. We've just heard we're talking at 8 p.m. here. I think we heard about half
Mm-hmm.
four, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah. So we just thought we'd come on and we'd get just sort of reminisce a bit and think,
Reminisce.
because
Yeah.
it's quite it came as quite a shock. Obviously, in our last episode we were talking about how it would be amazing to see him back on stage, and
Yeah.
um we knew obviously that he was in relatively poor health, but with the way things are these days, you just don't expect something like that. And I know
No.
it's not the first tragedy to beset Maiden. I know obviously Clive Burr was quite some time ago now, but that this is all the more real, I think, because they're at that age now where you sort of feel, how long have they
How
left?
long?
That
Yeah.
mortality
Yeah.
thing. But just to say that we're quite devastated to hear the news today, and we thought we'd come on and just share a few thoughts with you. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And obviously our thoughts are with Paul's loved ones and his family, etc.
yeah,
That I hope goes without saying. But yeah, Paul had I mean, he was a unique frontman,
yeah,
wasn't he?
yeah.
And I think,
He was.
you can watch our episodes on the first two albums, Iron Maiden and Killers.
Yeah,
I think. I think we probably comment on that quite a bit
yeah.
on Paul's um, he stamped his presence on those albums. I think it's fair to say, isn't
Larger
it?
than life, and a large character.
Yeah,
You
a
know,
large
he
character.
loomed over them in
Yeah,
height
yeah.
and in personality. I think he was
He didn't
power. He did. He was.
did loom over them a height.
Yeah,
He was a normal height,
it
whereas the
was like
rest of them were really
it was like
small.
a man and four hobbits.
Yeah,
Yes, it was. It was. And we make no excuses of having a bit of a laugh there, but um, it just it he was the right person at the right time for the band.
I think that's very
Yeah,
true.
they had
Very, very true.
they had obviously experimented with their lineup, and you can go back to the early days DVD. I think we probably will have a look at that ourselves maybe this evening
Yeah,
when we get home.
yeah,
And just he they caught the wave of Nawabum at that time.
yeah. And I know there's a lot made about the about the punk edge to the
Yeah,
band and
yeah,
something that I know Steve Harris has um,
played
said
down. Yeah,
no,
yeah,
absolutely hated punk and nothing to do with it,
yeah,
etc. But it's whether you like punk or not. I think there is a hint of that in Paul Di'Anno. If not, so, like, he's not a stereotypical heavy metal singer, and he wasn't at the time either. And the look,
yeah,
the short hair did set him apart.
yeah,
He did have a little bit more of a punky
yeah,
vibe and attitude about him. I think
yeah,
that's undeniable.
absolutely.
Whether his vocal delivery was in any way punky, I'm not so sure.
Not really.
But it wasn't the cod opera vocals of Dickinson.
No,
It's a
no.
very different vocal style.
Yes, he was able to convey the emotion of anything that he sung,
Mm-hmm.
be that Phantom of the Opera,
Mm-hmm.
or Remember Tomorrow, or Running Free, which is more of a straight ahead rock song, really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Women in Uniform,
Yeah.
He did have, there was a dynamism that isn't there really with punk.
Yeah.
He wasn't less of a shouter and more of a singer.
Yeah. I agree with that totally.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, there's an attitude there. Um, one of the journalists on the early days kind of describes him as a kind of cheeky stable boy,
Yeah.
or something like
Uh-huh.
that, and I
Yeah.
think it's quite a good
Yeah.
kind of
like
a
somebody that only foot like Mickey Pierce.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
only
a
pulls on
dodgy
horses or
geezer,
something.
you
Yeah.
know, but
Uh-huh.
a lovable rogue.
Yeah.
There's that kind of a cheeky chappy vibe with Diano.
Yeah.
That I think um, fans loved.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Like any band, the singer is your USP, and
Mm-hmm.
he is the person that conveys the message across.
Yeah.
And like in those first two albums, like even when we were talking about that the last episode, there's quite a few of those Diano era songs that we really want to see, and all the more
Mm-hmm.
poignant now that I wouldn't be expecting
Mm-hmm.
like a massive glowing tribute. Maybe they will, but I just think
There
that
has to be a nod.
there will be a
There
nod.
has
I'd
to be
be
a nod.
obviously there'll be they'll mention it, but I'm thinking like they'll not be singing along with them on the screen. You know what I mean? That type of thing. But I just think
Mm-hmm.
it has really made it quite real that this is coming, and
Yeah.
it's coming to us all. But this is coming to our band that we love, and Diano's influence is so important because everything that we know and we love, and you're watching this because you love Maiden like we do, like
Mm-hmm.
with all our heart, and you know it all stems through him. If he was not there, if he hadn't had his time, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I think
It just wouldn't have happened.
his part in the Iron Maiden story is immense.
Yeah.
As you said, it wouldn't have happened
No, it
without
wouldn't
him.
have. No, I don't think so. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, I believe that too, and I think it's very easy for us as fans, and has been very easy for us as fans probably to maybe underestimate that, and just it was Steve Harris's band,
Yeah.
and Steve Harris made it, and it was all about Steve.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was his band. He had the drive. He wrote most of the songs. He's the one who got the thing up off the ground.
Yeah.
No question.
Uh-huh.
But a band is it's
So some of its parts.
Some of its parts. It has to be more than the sum of its parts. Is what it has to become.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Paul Diano. Without Diano, they wouldn't have got signed. I
No.
don't think.
No.
I don't think they would have, landed those early. Got that fan base.
Yeah.
And got that they had something different about them, and that was partly down to him.
He was the one that lifted Maiden above the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So the songs were always going to be there, but it was the delivery of the songs, and you watch those live performances, and you see just how much he was like a counterpoint to Ari, just the two of them, like a pincer movement on the crowd, that screaming and just the head banging and really going for it, whereas as you say, Bruce is more theatrical and
moved around the stage a lot more, whether Diano was more of a presence and attitude kind of frontman. I watched a little bit of Live at the Rainbow whenever I heard the news. It was the kind of first thing I did, and I noticed, looking at the movement, he was kind of stationary, but always in the moment. Always living it, always rocking. It was true emotion. Never was it going through the motions.
No, that's right. I don't think he ever telephoned a performance in his life.
Never. It was absolute intensity, which is what the band was about. But he was part of delivering that, a massive part of delivering that.
It's just it's kind of hard to believe, it really is that he did have his differences with them, I would imagine so, but it was really nice, the post that Maiden have done on their social media, which I'm sure we were going to read it out, but we decided against it because you've probably all read it.
Yeah.
You've read it already. But it was nice to see them. It was nice to see Steve, who wouldn't generally wear his heart in his sleeve, but being quite emotional, I think, and what he was saying, really, and how they had a reconciliation of sorts in the past couple of years. There's that photograph
reconciliation.
of them.
Would you do you think it was a reconciliation? I think like Diana was said, but we never fell out.
I think in the eyes
You
of the
know,
media, that type of
in the
thing,
eyes of the
it's
media,
good to see them. Yeah.
Diana was quite. He's on the record as saying that it was just the media saying that.
Yeah.
Never fell out with them.
Yeah.
You know, and he was right from when he left Maiden or whatever way he was always loyal to Maiden. He never spoke behind their back.
Yeah.
You know, he never said anything derogatory about them. He never, you know, as far as he was concerned, he was paid well, he was treated well. You know, yeah, and it wasn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
That was Diano's line.
Aye.
Whether that's the way it was behind
I
closed
suppose
doors, I suppose we never
there's
know.
two
But
sides to every story, isn't
yeah,
it?
but it was
Yeah.
nice that they were, and you know, Ari said they'd been messaging about West Ham and that recently, and
Yeah.
and they had posted only a month or so back him and Bruce.
That's
meeting,
right. That's right. That's
you know,
right. Yeah.
which was really
That's
really
right.
cool, and yeah, the Run for Your Lives tour.
Yeah.
Is it strange that has been just talking about Mortality and
Yeah.
stuff of the band? It was a bit of a surprise announcement, and
Yes.
they're still on the
They're
road.
still on the road. They're in
and yet
America
they've
at the minute.
announced
Yep.
this tour.
Yes.
It made me think, you know, there's probably going to be a lot maybe going on for the 50th anniversary, but it also made me think in light of Nico,
Yeah.
what's happened with Nico's health and stuff. Was there? It seemed quite. Right, let's get this.
Aye. Let's
yeah.
make the most of the time that we have
have
left.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly. You know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think the reason why I mentioned that, just as you know, you were saying about the mortality of the band that we love, and I had kind of thought that at the time. We're going to the Budapest.
Yep.
Or Budapest show, I should say. It's the opening gig.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the London
London
Stadium
tickets as well.
At West Ham, or at West Ham's ground, as well. And I just kind of felt, you know, I don't know, I have a feeling, or it could be it,
Yeah.
you know. And this happening to Diano, it is a shock, but it has also, I think, brought that
the
even
reality,
more, the
closer.
reality of it. You know, that
Yeah,
you know, as you say,
we
the
have talked
band
about
are.
this for a very long time, and we've mentioned it in certain episodes. Like, just coming into my mind, if Hell on Earth was the last song they ever recorded in the studio,
Yeah.
what a way to go out!
What a way to go out!
Yeah. But you know,
and
that
I think it could be.
It could be. It could be.
You know.
This is it. We don't know. We don't know, because at the end of the day, while the mind is willing, sometimes the body isn't. You know, and I know that. The thing as well, like 58, born in 58, I was thinking then Bruce Dickinson's that same age. You know, so Bruce Dickinson's the youngest member of Maiden. He is.
Yeah.
So you know,
Diano would have been as well.
Yeah. Which is that kind of started there, sort of the past couple hours, sort of thinking about that too. You know, and then like you think to yourself, you know, without being too somber, we're going to really enjoy our time at these gigs.
Yeah.
We all are. You all are.
But they're not getting any younger.
But they're not getting any younger, and we're not getting any younger. And like, it's one of them things where you sort of think to yourself, it's real.
It's
there will be a day when they're not about,
and we just have to savor every moment of them. Of them. So
they're not bait yet.
No. I think we could probably. Just the last thing about the tour, the Run for Your Lives tour. Yeah. Maybe a nod to Paul, and then we'll maybe discuss Diano's greatest moments.
Yeah.
About that. You think they will do a little nod to him?
Oh, they'll have to. Yeah.
They probably, of course, they won't have thought about this yet. Of course, they won't. But as a knee-jerk reaction, I think playing Remember Tomorrow
Yeah.
would probably
Yeah.
as a nod
Yeah.
to
Yeah, he had a
Diano
hand in the writing of it. Yeah.
would probably be the appropriate one.
Yeah.
It's the one that strikes me as the most obvious note to maybe
Yeah.
do that. You know, if you're gonna.
He did have a hand in some of those early real
So that was
classics, Killers as
so that
well.
was Killers was. I mean,
Which is
writing
brilliant.
wise, yeah,
Yeah.
so he wrote Sanctuary. He wrote Running Free.
Yep. Remember Tomorrow
Remember Tomorrow
and Killers.
and Killers. They were his,
They were the only ones he had.
weren't they?
Yeah,
That
I
he
had a wee
wrote,
check there.
wrote
Yeah.
lyrics.
Yeah.
To all great lyrics.
Brilliant songs.
To
Every
all
single
of them.
one of them.
Like,
And
brilliant.
totally dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different. Killers is probably the older I get, it's probably my favourite song of both of those albums.
Killers
love
is
Killers.
fantastic. Yeah.
Killers are a brilliant song. So it is.
It really, really is.
And it defines that era perfectly.
Yeah, it does actually.
Just literally one song from the two albums, it would be Killers.
Yeah.
So it would. Definitely.
And yeah, I know it's funny, those two albums, some fans love Killers and others
I
love the debut.
Yeah.
You know, I think both of us we prefer the debut songs wise.
Yeah.
Although the production is better on
Killers,
but actually Killers overall.
Yeah, two instrumentals. That's remember. Now you're talking 4 years ago. We did the review. I can't remember, but
Yeah, I think
there
we thought
two
there
instrumentals
was
on it,
quite a lot of
wasn't there?
filler.
Yeah.
Fillers.
Filler and Killers.
Having said that, there's also its great moments are brilliant moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Rothschild.
Yep.
Killers.
Yep.
Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Yep.
You know, so it kind of goes, you know,
it's a
one
very
extreme to another.
He has a direct hand on making, and Killers is probably more influential in the world of metal than the first Maiden album is. You think about all those people who would reference Killers, off the top of my head, the guys in Metallica.
Yeah. Mustaine.
Yeah. Dave Mustaine.
You know, and I always say that, you know, the thrash, that big four or whatever, actually, to quote Scott Ian from Anthrax, he says it all revolves around Dave Mustaine. Whether you like it or not, whether you like him or not, the guitar sound, the style, the genre, he's the epicenter of it. You know, they jammed with them in New York, Anthrax. Kerry King did his first, played with Megadeth. You know, Mustaine was in Metallica.
Yeah.
So it all revolves around him.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's a direct conduit then into Killers.
Yeah, and Killers was an album he said was an influence on him, and loads of those music. I think Dave Lombardo was one who said, you know, it's the speed and intensity of some of the tracks on it, and I guess the same band, the same speed and intensity was probably on the first album, but the production lacks that punch. And some people like the raw kind of production, but it's there's so much more power with Martin Birch at the you know,
absolutely
sonically it sounds so much better.
It's class,
you know?
it is. You know, that was just a song that's been going round and round my head, Killers, you know, and then Rue Morgue a bit, you know, too. But then moments wise, then, so what would you define as Paul Di'Anno's
greatest moments?
Suppose it could be sonically, playing live.
So I think Killers is definitely one of those. I think Phantom of the Opera is another one.
Absolutely.
And not just because it's an outstanding track, but there's quite a lot of different parts to it, and he showed that he's not one-dimensional there.
Yeah.
And you think of quite a lot of iconic lines that aren't easy to sing either. The whole "back at your lair" thing and all that there, and he nails it. Like, you know, the track wouldn't be the same without him. So I think that's a definite Di'Anno moment. Rothschild,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, is another one.
I suppose performance-wise, the live performance on Top of the Pops.
Yeah,
that's like, you know, and that'll probably be, you know, that'll be in circulation now for the next few days, I would imagine. But the first band since The Who to play live on Top of the Pops, which is a massive UK institution. It's no longer on the TV, but would have been the chart hits of the day every, I think it's Thursday or Friday night, before you
Yeah.
went to the pub. But and they played it. They played Running Free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they were introduced as being from West Ham. So all links, you know what I mean? But that was
Yeah.
great.
Definite, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a definite moment. I do think Live at the Rainbow as well.
Yes, class. Yeah.
Which is class and
And made in Japan.
made in Japan.
Yeah.
Something I totally overlooked.
Yeah.
There, am I thinking about preparing for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That has to be a moment.
Yeah, like that is one of the metal live albums. A lot
Yeah,
of people reference that as
yeah.
would have been the first sort of live
Mm-hmm.
feeling of the band if you had never seen them before, and
Yeah,
who wouldn't get turned on with the album covers and the main Japan cover itself, and then you put it
so
on.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's really important as a performance.
I think
as
you're.
well.
I think you're right. Putting on the belt
Yeah,
at the start of is that Life at
remember.
the Rainbow or is it
I Slave of the Rainbow thing. I think the studded belt. Yeah.
putting on the studded belt? That's a great Diano moment. Yeah, and he just looked cool.
Aye,
didn't he?
the photographs, is it with Dave Murray? It's the Eddie mask on.
Aye,
And he's
aye.
standing beside him. All you can think of is that boy with Dennis the Menace hair, a stripy t-shirt, a leather jacket, good-looking fella standing with these
It's a geezer.
little small people. like a youth club leader. Like a youth club leader of a metal band.
Yeah. And another thing I think, I suppose it's not a moment, it's more numerous moments and maybe his lyrical contribution, but I think he gave Maiden a real lawless street
Yeah.
edge.
Yes, he
if
did.
you look
He
at
did.
Running Free,
Yep.
and you look at
Rothschild.
and
Rue Morgue. Yeah.
Rue Morgan, though he didn't, he wrote some of those, not all,
Yeah.
not all of those. Did I say Sanctuary?
Prowler.
Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Prowler.
Yeah.
Those songs don't work, and if they're not, if the guy isn't believably,
In the persona.
yeah, of being kind of anti-authority,
Yeah.
or
Anti-establishment.
yeah,
Yeah. Living in the street. Living by your seat of your pants type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And the vitriol that comes across.
Mhm.
Like you can nearly hear the spit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Really
absolutely
aggressive.
aggressive,
But yeah.
and that
A focal point.
a focal point
Yeah.
for you put that with the fast guitars and stuff like that, and then you put on top of that the marketing, if you want to call it, of Derek Riggs.
Yeah.
Those first albums.
Yeah.
The streets of East London.
Yeah.
The yellow lighting.
The political nature of
the murder.
Murder and Maggie.
You know, you think of Sanctuary, murdering Thatcher, killers. His murder. All that. That was their image.
Yeah.
For those first two albums, that's what they were. When Bruce comes along, that changes.
Yes, it does. It has to.
And whether it's by accident or by design, Derek Riggs' artwork changes.
Yes, it becomes more fantastical rather than real.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
And is that whether that would be interesting to know, was that by accident or design or not? But it suits the persona of each of those vocalists.
Yes. It does. It does.
Because the band go in a more fantastical direction.
Yeah.
Under Bruce, and the artwork reflects that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's simply because the titles of the songs were more fantastical.
Yeah.
And Derek was painting according to the titles.
Absolutely.
Perhaps it's
the
as simple as that.
interpretation of the lyrics. And,
Yeah.
But
that matched with Diano, and if Diano wasn't so convincing at that, it wouldn't have rang true.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So it's really the band's identity. He was a core part of the band's.
He totally was. Yeah, he
identity.
completely shaped it.
Yeah.
On stage, in your ears, and then, then that foundation was created
Mhm.
for them to springboard into 50, being here for 50 years later.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's mad when you think about it.
It is mad,
You know,
but it was a strong foundation to
that's it.
build
You know,
on.
like at the end of the day, you know, you look at Deep Purple, they had a singer before that, Ian Gillan.
Hmm.
You know, you look at Led Zeppelin, came from the Yardbirds. Keith Ralph was the singer, and then, you
Hmm.
know, all these bands that are, you know, legendary bands, they do have certain in that genre. They do have lineup changes, whereas Maidens, when they broke hard and they broke in the way they determined. You know
Hmm.
what no one told them what they were doing.
No.
They just blazed their own trail.
Hmm. And
You know,
those albums have always been held in very high esteem, both critically
yeah,
and
with
by
the
the fan
fans. Yeah,
base.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Oh God, yeah.
even though the band became, I think it's fair to say, a bigger band, substantially bigger
Yeah,
band, probably from the Number of the Beast
yeah.
onwards under Bruce. It's never been the case that Diano's work or those first two albums were ever seen as lesser
No,
albums.
no.
Never,
Even when we
you
were
know,
young, even when we were young, we were getting off
you
on
know.
Phantom of
Hmm.
the Opera and, you know,
Yeah.
Wrathchild, Running Free. You know, that's very true
Hmm.
actually, because there'll be people going, I'm not sure, or, you know, you get that. I prefer the early stuff. You
Yeah,
know what I
that
mean?
that is a thing in rock.
Yeah.
There's always
Hmm.
you always get a segment of fans who go, their first stuff was their best and all, and there's
Yeah.
reasons
But they
for
never
that,
sold out. They never have,
But no,
and
no,
still haven't. So, and they never
exactly,
will.
never
So,
will. No.
you know, that's the thing. Unless we see holograms of them, I'd still fucking pay to see that, to be honest with you. But, you know, that's just me being flippant. But um yeah, I think, you know, I think it's very raw still. It's
Yeah, it is.
not
It
quite
is.
real, and obviously we'll be keeping a very keen eye on what the metal community have to say.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
trip, you know, as we were sort of talking there, literally just before we hit record, you know, America probably hasn't even woke up to it yet. You know, maybe, you know,
yeah. It'll just be kind of,
breakfast time.
yeah,
You know,
lunchtime or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be the tributes will be thick and fast. No,
Blaze, I saw Blaze put one online there.
yeah,
Yeah,
Blaze
just
Billy did
his
a.
great friend, he said, and
Yeah, they
just
toured
they toured
together
together. Yeah,
in Scandinavia and
yeah,
Ukraine, and yeah, had a great time. So a very heartfelt tribute from Blaze as well.
yeah.
Um,
Measure the guy,
so Blaze,
measure of his legacy too.
absolutely,
You know,
absolutely. Blaze, if you're watching, regards to you, our friend. Um, but yeah, it's don't know if what else do we say? Just I suppose thank you.
yeah. Thanks for
For the wonderful
yeah. Thanks, Paul, for providing all of this.
all of this, all of
Yeah,
this. Yeah, it just wouldn't be here without you.
and we wouldn't be here.
Really, we wouldn't be here uh, waffling in front of our phone
I know.
about it. But
What else would you do a podcast on?
I
You
know,
know,
I know. Without
can't do it
being
in football.
without being facetious, so
Yeah,
there. I always do think of Iron Maiden and our fans as being a huge
yeah,
community,
absolutely. Yeah. Hmm.
and he's an essential part of making that a reality. So
It's a hard pill to take today,
yeah,
but
it is. It is.
you know, put the albums on. You know,
That's it.
celebrate it
Artists and musicians
the
live
way we want
through.
to. Yeah,
They achieve that immortality
yeah,
from their music lives on.
yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing, isn't it? And they're never, I suppose, truly gone because you can just hit play and there they are. So yeah,
I think there's no better way than to say goodbye to that. No, that was lovely, Andy.
yeah, yeah. So enjoy and
And
yeah,
we'll see you soon.
see you soon.
All right, take care.
Bye guys.